Infrared.
Yeah. Infrared.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. So the reading today is Moon, and it talks about how the harvest moon, the big full moon, it's supposedly the woman's time, and it's time for man to step back and let the woman have her place. And that's primarily because we're moving into the fall. In the spring, at the equinox, there's also a full moon, but it's not really designated specifically, like the harvest moon's a big deal. The spring moon isn't really celebrated. It's actually the sun that's celebrated because it's moving into yang. We're now moving into yin, right? And so there's a lot more to do with the feminine character, the supporting nature, the birthing character. All those kinds of things are all part of this season, and it takes us into the fall-winter chi nodes, which are all about internalizing and recognizing ourself more than recognizing others. Now, we're getting there, right? And so on the journey to get there, we talk about the idea that we kind of need to get rid of all the excess of summer. We've gathered a bunch of projects around us and we haven't gotten to all of them. Get rid of it, right? Kind of spread it around, as they say, and support other areas with that. So it's kind of one of those, what do you do with all this stuff? Well, don't throw it away. Give it out to something or someone or an organization that can use it. So there's that whole idea of harvest. The harvest time, especially in the Asian philosophy, when a lot of this stuff was written, talks about the idea that when harvest comes in, you count all the grain. You know, you bag it and mount it and stack it and put it all away. And if there's excess in the primary, okay, this is going to make us through the year and through the spring and then into planting for the next year, and you still have some left over, you give it away. Because it's just going to go bad, you know, so why deal with that? So we kind of take that up into what we're doing today and bring it into modern society. And, you know, we've got too many shoes, too many pairs of pants, too many shirts, too many sheets, too many blankets, too many, you know, we're getting to the point where the rooms are filling up full of junk and we don't know what to do with it, but it's still good stuff, so we need to pass it on, right? We need to give that to other support mechanisms that help people less fortunate. And so it's kind of the interpretation, you know, it's kind of take that interpretation and just run with it. So then the next thing we're looking at in the moving into winter is also clearing space. So part of that whole getting rid of the excess has to do with making room in the house, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there in the next 4 months, right? Or next 5 months. We're going to be spending a lot of time in the house, so we need to make it nice, make it livable, make it clear, make the space. And when we do that in the house, we're doing that in ourselves. Right? We're kind of clearing away all the excesses of summer, all the parties, all the gatherings, all that kind of stuff is all kind of being cleared out, and we're making room both in our hearts and in our homes so that we can spend more time there, and it's welcoming to us and it's welcoming to others, right? So that's part of that whole character of the Chi and moving into the fall-winter period. Blah, blah, blah. Any questions about that? Any thoughts on that? Okay. There's a lot more. I could go on for hours, but what we want to do is talk about the basics, because we're really kind of getting to the point where we're not doing so much moving Chi Gung exercises. We're not moving. The moving Tai Chi is very big. It's really small now. And so we really want to kind of take it back to the center. And we want to look at it from the inside looking out. And when we do that, one of the primary things we think about is breath. A lot of Chi Gung, the idea of the medical Chi Gung and of the martial arts Chi Gung, they're all based on the concept of breath. Where is the breath and how is it affecting the body? So when we really look at breath, I mean, we can't live without it, right? It's one of the two primary physical things that are happening in the body. The heart is beating and the lungs are breathing, and you can't stop either one of them. I mean, you can try. People have done it. But it's really, really hard to stop the heart from beating, and it's really, really hard to stop yourself from breathing. And those are the two key components. So let's stop for a moment. Just kind of stand comfortably. Usually the feet are about shoulder width apart, and the knees are bent slightly and not standing at attention. And then just relax the stomach and try and let the lungs and the diaphragm kind of sink down a little bit. And let the breath kind of open up all by itself, and see if you can feel the breath fill the chest. Okay, anybody notice that the diaphragm's a little tight? Chest's a little sore, right? So fall, right? We're talking fall, and so the body is contracting naturally. We get this warm weather, the body's warm, everything feels good, and now we're starting to go through these. I get a really hot spell, and then a really cold spell, and a really hot spell, and a really cold spell. And so the body doesn't know what to do, it tightens up. And so we get that tenseness in the diaphragm, we get the tenseness in the shoulders and in the neck. Really common this time of year, and so we have some exercises. We've done these before. We're going to learn some new exercises. So you start with the chest kind of rolled back, so take the arms and turn the arms this way, and at the same time roll the shoulders open. And then lift the chest up and inhale as far as you can. And when you exhale, we're going to turn the hands and roll the shoulders forward and kind of bend forward and press the air out. And then do the same thing to inhale and roll back. And roll forward and exhale. And one more time. And exhale. Good. Does anybody feel lightheaded? A little bit? Good. Okay, so a little bit is important. If you really feel like that's not very good and you're immediately going, sit down. It's okay. Sit down, right? Find a seat, sit down. The idea of opening up the lungs and getting more oxygen into the system this time of year doesn't really change the way that we work. Doesn't physiologically change the way things work. It just reminds us where we work, right? It opens us back up and it reminds, oh gosh, yeah, I was feeling really foggy this morning, and then we did that breathing thing, and I feel great. It's like, well, yeah, no need for coffee, right? No need for coffee. Couple of good deep breaths, right? Really, really sets you on your way. If you're doing the Chi Gung exercises at home, the mornings are the key this time of year. Evening's great, but morning is the key this time of year, because it's just so slow to get started, right? The body wants to go slow. One of the ironic readings in one of the other Taoist texts that I study talks about this time of year is you follow the sun. So if it's a little bit cloudy out and the sun isn't quite up yet, don't get up. It's okay, right? And then
Tim says the sun.
And then in the
Right.
and then in the evening it's the same thing. If the clouds come in early, set it off. Just start winding down, getting ready for bed, go to bed early. And of course, when we get to winter, it's the same thing, right? Even though the skies will be brighter in the winter time because we don't have as much rain as we're expecting, it's a short day, right? The sun's not coming up very often. The evening is the nighttime is the longest, days are the shortest, you follow the sun. And it makes perfect sense from an agrarian point of view, which is where a lot of these philosophies come from, right? We're talking about 9,000 years of following the grain, following the grain, following the grain, you know, and so it's like, well, you're not really doing a lot in the wintertime, you know, don't worry about it, you know, save up your energy. So there's a lot to do with that in this philosophy. So because we have a new person and we're talking about the roots, right? We're really talking about the root of Chi Gung. We're going to really get into the pressure points and the channels again. We haven't really talked about them for a while. And so what we want to do is look at the acupuncture system and the acupressure system all function on the concepts of the energy channels in the body. The different organs and the different energy cycles in the body all follow channels. So the primary channel is the governor channel, and it leads from the tip of the tongue down the front of the body, around the center and up the spine, around the top of the head, and as it comes to the eyes, it actually goes in slightly and comes to the little spot on the roof of the mouth just behind the front teeth. So if you stick your tongue against your front teeth and go backwards, there's kind of a ridge right there, right? And then it goes up to the palate, up to the back of the mouth. Well, it's right in that spot approximately where the two of them are not connected. And so we take the tip of the tongue and we set it against that spot, and that connects this cycle, right? It connects this energy channel, as it were. Now there's two governing channels that follow this primary channel or assistive channels, and they basically line it. They're just what they call kun, which is a finger width, 2 kun apart. So the center one's here, and then there's 2 kun on either side, and there's another channel. And when you're doing acupuncture, that's what you do, is you go, and that's where that spot is. And so those are the governors for the primary channel, or the assistives for the governor channel, depending on which system you're following. And so those are the ones that we really, really think about a lot when we're doing breath. So the key to breathing in the microcosmic orbit is up the spine, and then it spills over the front, and it comes down the front of the body, and then starts again at the tailbone, essentially, and inhales up and then comes back down again. The way I look at it, and the way that a couple of the texts that I've read it, study it, is it comes up the surface of the back, it dives in the front and comes down the esophageal passage into the stomach and nourishes all the organs. And so that's primarily what I think about. And so when I do a lot of our discussions about how we're doing the breathing and what we're feeling and all that kind of stuff, it's primarily on the surface up the back, kind of raises the hackles on the back of the neck. And as it comes down, it nourishes the eyes and then all the organs in the body, and then starts the cycle again. Any questions about that primary channel? Okay. So then we always talk about the different organs as being very important. This time of year, for fall, it's wood, it's the liver. If we don't behave very well this time of year, it can affect the liver for the next season. And so that channel happens to be down the arm, and it comes down to this primary channel right here. And of course, we talk about this spot being very common, right? We use this spot a lot. It deters pain in the body because it's with the organs that manage pain. And so you find that spot, during the spring and the summer, we found it very sensitive, and now it's just kind of dull, right? It's just kind of not really going. Primarily because it's not really sensitive this time of year. The liver is doing its job. It's this time of year, right? It's the liver portion of the year, and so it's actually quite supportive right now. If you do have some pain in the body, or if you push on that area and it feels really sensitive, it's just a light massage. Just use your thumb and kind of warm it up a little bit. Ironically, the sister channel to that one's right here on the side of the leg, just behind the heel, or just behind the ankle bone. This is a little spot right there, and you can feel that one. That one's going to be more sensitive this time of year than this one is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also helps you if you feel chilly. If you feel chilly, that's
All
the
the time.
that's
In
the
the
spot to massage. Yeah, that's the spot to massage. So anyway, I could go on about the channels. There's a whole myriad group of channels in the body that do a variety of things. If you feel cramping in the front of the legs this time of year, that's the stomach and the spleen. And that's very common this time of year because we've changed our diet. We're moving towards more of a, winter-ish diet, a lot more squash and a lot less fruit, and we're kind of heading that direction. So those are the things we look at. So let's go back to breath. So the keys in the balance of breath have to do with a couple of primary points. The palms of the hands, the Lao Gung points, and the bubbling spring point, which is kind of like the same spot on the foot as the hand, are very primary conditions. We don't know why exactly. A lot of the texts talk about the fact that we might have been quadrupeds to start with, and our feet and our hands were always in contact with the earth, which is ground, right? If you study electronics or electricity, it's ground, and we're producing energy, and we need to be grounded. And so when we do our Chi Gung exercises, we focus these two together, and we form a loop here, and then we form the loop through the legs, and between the two of them, it kind of helps to ground out the body, helps to balance it out. And we have some fun experiments that actually kind of make that more real, but right now we'll just keep going with just the exercise. So then the next step in the breath and the heartbeat is circulation. So one of the keys in circulation is making sure that the body is open to circulate. So is this a good circulation, you think? Yeah, no. Is this a good circulation? Or, right. And so we want to kind of be loose and open and relaxed. We want to extend the arms a little bit so that we can round the shoulders and open the elbows and the shoulders to get the circulation to move in the body. Same thing with the legs. If I'm standing like this and my knees are locked and I'm rigid in a standing position, I've locked everything from my hips down. And so I want to have my legs about shoulder width apart, my knees bent slightly. It's good to tuck in the waist just a little bit to kind of straighten the lower back, and that opens up the channel in the lower back, which is nerves and arteries. And then when we bend the knees, we're doing the same thing. We're opening up the channels to the feet. So if you just stand here for a second and kind of grip the ground with your toes a little bit, even through your shoes, and then stop and feel your feet, you can almost feel the feet. You can feel them kind of wiggling around down there, even without you wiggling your feet. Just wiggle your feet a couple of times and then just stop, and you can kind of feel them liven up a little bit. And that generally comes from the way we sit. We tend to sit like this a lot, with our feet tucked up underneath the chair, sitting at the chair with the computer. And they always give us those little platforms in front that we're supposed to put our feet out and on. And it's really hard to do that. You get your feet out there and you're typing away, and then you realize, next thing you know, you're all, wound up with your feet underneath the chair again. And it's like, stick your feet out there. So that's the circulation portion. Any questions so far? Good. Okay. Now we get to step into the really ethereal stage of things, even though a lot of it kind of sounded like we were getting off into energy floating through the body and all that kind of stuff. We really want to look at moving the body with the breath. So part of the reality in the Asian philosophy, in the Indian philosophy, in the American Indian philosophy, in the Southern American native philosophy is that we're animals. We were born as animals, and we only put on clothes and have jobs and build homes because we have imagination or we have opposable thumbs. I don't know. Just a couple of different people have different ideas of how this all worked out. But the idea that we've funneled ourselves into this economic, social, whatever thing takes us away from the idea that the body has all these animal instincts, regeneration and circulation and connectivity to other beings without having to use words and communication exist. And if we let it exist, then we can find ways that it actually manifests itself. So in the Chi Gung exercises, we talk about moving the body like the body is meant to move when we breathe. So one of the keys that I always look at when I'm standing in my standing exercises, not just the sitting or lying exercises, but is kind of that rolling motion of the body. When I inhale, I kind of roll everything open and up, just like we did earlier. And then when I exhale, I roll back down again. And then when I do that, I realize that I have to use my hips and my feet. And so everything is rolling. It's like the whole body kind of gets this rolling motion going when you think about it. And so then, of course, I look at the readings from the Chi Gung exercises that they've been doing for, I hate to say how many years, and that's the same thing. They talk about you start on the inside of the feet and you roll back to the heels, and as you roll to the heels, I want to keep my balance, and so I kind of stick my butt out a little bit to kind of make sure I'm in balance. Well, that's exactly what they tell you to do, is to arch your back and open the stomach so that when you inhale, you can release the diaphragm, as we did the first thing in the class. And at the same time, as I inhale, my chest lifts up and my shoulders open up so I can get more air in there, and that's what they tell you, is you roll open, and then you come forward and you exhale, and everything kind of collapses down, just like when we were practicing at the very beginning. So it's that rolling the feet around the feet, and following that with the inhale and exhale, and then the hands kind of follow the pattern of the feet. Everybody getting anything out of that? I think my lecture's taken a vacation and I'm still trying to come back from being away. Am I making sense? That's the first question. Am I making sense? Okay, good. Well, then I shouldn't feel so bad. Okay, so that sensation of rolling around the feet and rolling the joints is a stimulation of circulation, right? It's stimulating the nervous system, it's stimulating the muscles, it's stimulating circulation in the arteries and the veins. And so I start looking at this from the Asian philosophy, and one of their primary things is this acupuncture and acupressure, and then reflexology is layered on top of that. And so in the feet, as in the hands, and the ears, by the way, are all the pressure points for all the organs. They all centralize in the feet and in the hands and in the ears, which is why a lot of acupuncturists just do ears. That's all they do. Oh yeah, take care of you. Massage therapists, same thing. They do hands and feet. Some of them just do hands and feet. They don't worry about the body. The hands and feet solves all the problems of the world, they say, because of this idea of reflexology. And so if we take that and think about the feet rolling around as we do our breathing exercise, it's really stimulating all the organ channels in the body, right? And this slight raising and lowering of the body, we kind of get to the, we stand up a little bit on the inhale, and as we exhale, we relax down. Reminds the body of the, inhale for strength, exhale to relax. And if you notice when you are trying to relax, you get that sound and you get that exhale feeling, really, and the body just gets the trigger, relax, right? You get that trigger to relax. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground on why we're here and what this class kind of covers on a basic theory, on the very basic theory. Is everybody okay so far? Are you learning anything? Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to go over a couple of the exercises that we will be doing in the class. Everybody already knows these. You'll be getting this now. The 3 gates Gung. So 3 gates simply rolls the feet out and in. I inhale, I roll them out. I exhale, I roll them in. As I roll them out, I arch the back and I bring my arms up. So all I'm doing is I'm lifting out instead of, I'm not using the shoulders to lift up and crank my neck. I'm opening up, like pulling out my elbows, opening up the chest, and then exhale and bring them back down. So as I roll out, I arch the back, inhale, lift up slightly, and then exhale, roll the feet in, straighten the back, and bring the arms in. And one more, roll the feet out, arch the back, lift up the arms, and then exhale. Good. Okay, so that's primarily used just to begin breathing, right? It gives you that nice sense of opening and closing, expansion and contraction. Some people see it as a wave coming in, starts at the feet start, then the hips start, and then the shoulders start, and then do the opposite, the shoulders, then the hips, then the feet. I just do them all in a pattern, right? They all just open, and then they all close, right? But you can do it in either pattern, it's not a problem, right? It's not like it breaks some rule someplace. So that's simply 3 gates Gung. The one we were doing earlier is called the first moving Gung. And the first moving Gung starts in the center and rolls back and opens on the heels, goes to the outside of the feet and rolls forward as you exhale, and then across the toes, closes and comes back together and back to balance. And we always want to return to like right in the center and pause for just a second before we start again. And roll back and inhale, rise up slightly, open, and then exhale. And one more, roll back and inhale. And roll forward. Good, and relax. Good, so one of the things to remember in a lot of the Qigong exercises is just like any medical treatment is do no harm. If you're doing a movement and it feels like there's a kink there or something, make it a little smaller. Make the movement a little smaller and then work on expanding the movement again. So you get a kink in your shoulder and I'm trying to do this and this shoulder doesn't want to do that, so I don't go all the way open. But I lift it up, oh, no pain, I can go forward, and then the next time try again, oh, a little bit better, and then again, and oh, now it's much better, right? So give yourself some time. Don't think you just gotta do it right the first time. It's like, no. Work your way into it. Feel the body. It's one of the things we've been talking about a lot this last year, primarily because of my retirement, is that we really need to listen to the body. The body will really give us clues as to what's going on. Something's right, something's wrong. Something's going bad, something's having problems, something's doing excellent today. It'll tell you if you're paying attention, right? If you can listen to it. Okay, we're out of time, sad to say. And so we're going to finish with the closing exercise, which is Chi Gung. And the Chi Gung exercise starts in a standing position, just like most everything for the standing exercises. We turn the palms out and inhale as we gather. And then start the exhale, we're going to draw it down through the top of the head until we get to about the top of the chest. Then we're going to take a short breath right there. And then guide it down to just below the belly button, which is the Dantian. And take a short breath there. And then guide it down the legs to the bubbling spring points in the middle of the feet, at the bottom of the feet. And take a breath there. And then we're just going to take 3 medium breaths right there and just kind of feel the feet, feel the connection between the feet and the ground right at the bubbling spring point if you can. Good. We're going to do that 3 times. So turn the palms out. Inhale, rise up. Take a breath at the heart and lungs. And at the Dantian and Numan. And the bubbling spring points at the bottoms of the feet. And take a couple more breaths. Just feel the energy, feel the weight of the body just sink down, all the way down through the legs to the bottoms of the feet. And when you're ready, palms out, inhale, rise up. Take a breath at the heart and lungs. And the Dantian and Numan. And the bubbling spring points at the bottoms of the feet. And a couple more breaths. Just feel the energy flowing through the body, connecting to the heavens and the earth. All right. Any last thoughts or questions? Oh, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.